we have so much we want to talk about today. So stay tuned. Today we have my co-host, Mr. Reggie Drummer. Hey, Reggie, how you doing?
I'm doing great there, Miss Sylvia. Outstanding. Better than I deserve to be doing. Uh, but you know what? I'm in America, so guess what? I'm feeling great. I'm great. America's great. Why not let's be great?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
ready for this show tonight. I know it's going to be powerful.
Oh, yeah, it is. But you know what? It's a little chilly in here. The fall, fall weather is trying to pop up around here. You know, I always remember it was cold. A lot of times it was cold during Halloween, and Halloween is right around the corner. So I guess it's time for the chilly weather, and I'm
The
not quite
chilly,
ready for it.
well, the chilly weather and the time change. You can see that going on because when I'm up morning, early in the mornings doing some of my power calls, I'm seeing the change in the weather and the time because it's darker.
Yep, and I guess the animals gonna try to find them some shelter. There's this bird that keep knocking on my house, trying to put a hole in my house so it can get in, I guess. And squirrels coming into my house now in the attic. It's like, what is wrong with these things?
Are they trying to stay warm for the winter? That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
They're very smart.
yeah, because I know
Unlike humans.
a couple years ago, a bird had pecked a hole on the side of my house, and we covered it up. And now, every morning now, I'm hearing him over there knocking. Try to peck a hole. He ain't got there yet, but I don't know. Hope he ain't trying to do it for the winter.
Yeah. Well, they will go inside and stay warm, and you know, the animals. When you think about it, not to get into animals that deep, but uh, like birds go south for the winter. The squirrels, they'll hide in your attic. Uh, they're gonna stay warm.
Yeah, I don't want them in my attic. They need to find somewhere else to go. That's what they need to do. Yeah, but we had a few things that happened in the past few days. Dr. Barbara King, she passed away, and they buried her the other day. Did you hear about that?
Oh yes, yes. The honorable doctor, Barbara
Yeah,
King. She's
Dr.
minister. She
Barbara.
was a trailblazer. Actually, you know, when you look at women ministers, because she actually did it when it was sort of taboo to have women ministers, and he founded the Hillside, and I've had the opportunity to go over there a couple of times and see her doing, uh, I would call her prime time, as early as 10, 15 years ago, and she really was an inspiration to the community and for the God that she served. So we will miss her as she joins the ancestors.
Yeah, yeah, we will. She meant a lot to the people in the community because I used to watch her on television. When
Oh
she did
yeah.
her ministry on television, she was a tall lady too. You know,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yes.
and I'm wondering how many men were intimidated by her because she was really smart, a well-learned woman.
Oh
So
yeah.
and then I found out that she was crowned chief or something like that in Ghana. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't
She had
remember.
many accolades. I forgot exactly what that title meant, but it's a powerful title that uh, she was given, and yeah, she was definitely uh, a person that represented not only her race but ministers in general because it's a lot of her teachings were some you know uh, she had some when you go through the Bible, the biblical text, she actually brought some greater understanding to a lot of what was there, especially when it came down to where women roles were. Because most time in the Bible, I think the only person they bring in the Bible up is Mary, and you might bring up Ruth, and that's it. Well, she would go deep.
Mm. Oh,
Hmm.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really wasn't always, you know, from a subservient type position. Um, so I had to, but yeah, she was a powerful minister. Yes,
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you think a lot of men looked up to her?
they
Well,
had to.
some of them had because she was so tall.
Yeah. Well, not just to say that, but in her knowledge
Yeah,
and
definitely most knowledgeable.
uh, matter of fact, Minister Farrakhan, Honorable Minister Farrakhan, he would call her his minister.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She brought the minister on several times when a lot of ministers shied away from the minister. Oh
Mm.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I was asking that, but I was thinking about the women. There are a lot of women in power, and some men they can't deal with it. They can't deal with women in power because they think that they should be the dominant one. Like Kamala Harris. She gets slack, and of course, who she getting the slack from Trump. She's mean and nasty. Trump, you know what? I think he's inferior to women.
Well,
I see that's the way he feel. Unless he feel like he should be dominant because he always putting women down. Even the commentator the other night, he was talking about her. No,
yeah.
he don't like
Well,
women.
yeah. Well, you got to check his pedigree. Okay, his granddaddy, all of them. They find women that come from different countries that are impoverished, that look at them like they are God. Okay, his granddaddy did that. His mama was from some place that we never heard. His grandmama was from somewhere we never heard. And
Mm,
his current wife is from somewhere we never heard. Ivana was the only person he ever married that was American roots was the lady out of Marva Staples, I swear, out of Marietta.
uh-huh.
That was the only one. That was the only one. Everybody else has been from you call them blank hole country. That's where they come from. Where they look up like he the God, and his daddy did it, and his daddy did it. So his granddaddy is pedigree. So women, they rise up, but at I think him and Ivana had problems because at some point she got more attention than he did, and he couldn't deal with that. And
You think
that's
that's
when the
why
infidelity.
they're separated?
Yeah, well, that's when the infidelity goes on because he can't deal with the fact that a woman is getting the attention and that type of stuff. There's a whole lot of stuff. You know, uh, I'm a peopleologist, but I ain't a psychiatrist. I mean, if you can climb up in that head, and I think his son said something weird about my dad. He's not a rapist. All those women, they would they would stand in line to get with him. Why would he rape somebody? I mean, this is the mentality. I mean, it is what it is. America's got what they want. I feel like in the biblical days or something when they asked for a king, maybe white, not necessarily white people, but a lot of backward people decided they wanted a king, and they got
Yeah, but you know what? Now, those women, there's a lot of women that got cases against Trump for rape
one. Oh
or
yeah,
assault. So
that's why he picked that
he
judge.
don't honor and respect women.
Oh
That's
no, not at all.
I guess he feel intimidated if they appear to be smarter than him, which a lot of women are
Mm-hmm.
smarter than him. You know, so
You
I
find fifth graders.
huh?
You can find fifth graders that are working, give them a hard time.
Yeah, probably
But
so. Probably so.
but uh, yeah, and then the chauvinistic whole thing. What Trump does now, he is who he is. You got to look at the other people that support him, because even women, they're, I mean, they're women. When he nominated the judge, the guy out of Kavanaugh, or whatever, not Kavanaugh, whoever that judge was out of Alabama,
Uh-huh.
the Supreme Court, and they said that this guy was dating women when he was I say he was almost 30, and he was getting girls 15 years old, and these ladies down in Alabama, these grandmamas talking about a guy would be proud to have a bow like that. These grandmamas, these women, now you imagine, I don't think you say something like that, Mississippi. Well, you would say,
Uh-uh.
yeah, my daughter would be glad to have an old gray haired or a dog like drummer. He's 70 years old, and my little 50-year-old niece, she ought to be proud. But this what these women did. And and they got many women that they do this thing with women that support Trump. It's almost like a chicken that loves chicken McNuggets, or a cow that loves Big Mac. You know, they like, the cow is like, hey, I love Big Mac, and Big Mac still my friend. And the chicken already know it's gonna be a chicken McNugget, and the chicken is saying, oh, I just can't wait. you know, it's but this is what's happening. But we can't fault him. He's got that charismatic thing that and a lot of them are blonde-haired white women. I've seen a bunch of them that they in the audience. They it is what it is.
Yeah, and then you know what they say
So
about
maybe he is the chosen one. Well, maybe
uh,
he is the chosen one.
yeah. But I don't understand why anybody would be with him anyway. It's like, see, Trump, they're going Trump, I go the other way. You know?
Well, you know what? There's a lot of Trump humpers. Okay, now when you think about it, now people look at the economy. They say, even though the economy did well under President Obama, Trump
Uh,
is a great marketer and a promoter. I saw a commercial, and man, it almost got me teary eyed. He said, black people have put more blacks to work and more women to work than any other president. I mean, I was touched. I mean, and when you see the commercial, I mean, you'll buy into it. And then, Vernon, did you see Vernon Jones?
no, yeah, at the
Oh,
convention.
they passed him around like he was a hot dog.
Yeah, I was wondering what's wrong with him. But see, my thing is, if he put so many black people to work, why aren't they working in the White House? And why don't he have more women on his cabinet?
Well, say that again. What's the name of that place?
The White House? Yeah, the
That's
White
why.
House. That's why,
He's got one guy. What's his brother?
Ben
Ben
Carson.
Carter. And see, well, you got to think about it now. And this is probably not just Donald Trump, but the ideology. A lot of times, uh, uh, it, you think about a lot of the people that, even the Bushes had a couple of black people, from Colin Powell to Condoleezza Rice, a lot of, black people that were empowered.
Yeah.
But, uh, you know, Donald Trump, even in his business, I remember when Aretha Franklin died, he was like, I think she used to work for me.
Did he say that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he's
Oh,
incredible. But you got to think now, if you are, kind of indoctrinated into a system, and believe it or not, a lot of times when you look at our northern cities,
mm-hmm.
uh, you know, they're not employing a lot of blacks anyway.
A lot of
Okay,
the other cities.
yeah, when you look at New York, uh, there's not a lot of black folk empowered in New York.
Yeah, well, I don't know because I've only
They,
visited New
they,
York. I haven't lived there, so I
yeah,
don't know what's
but,
what. But I
you
would
know,
think that a lot of them will be in business there.
yeah, well, when you look at it, and when you look at the northern cities, uh, because of the way the unions are set up, the way things are set up, it's a lot more difficult. Uh, for just it's more opportunity for northerners to come down south to do business than it is up north. With
Really,
the
I've
exception
never
of,
heard that. I never even thought that.
oh yeah, it's entrepreneurship. That's why so many northerners come down south because it's a lot easier. Even with the racism and all the Jim Crow and all that type stuff, what happened in the northern cities like uh, New York, uh, Pittsburgh, uh, Philadelphia, uh, Pennsylvania, they said, these cities, Buffalo, New York, a lot of places, uh, blacks are not. It's in a way, it's kind of token type position. Okay,
Hmm.
so in Donald Trump's world, blacks weren't doing a lot. You know what I'm saying? He did not see uh black affluence. Okay, even if you get in Atlanta, you got somewhat of Chicago, different cities. So the white people that are in those cities have a different look at black people because you know in a way they look at, well, every black person I've met, I really had to help them. You
Oh,
know what I'm saying? They always
yeah.
look at black people as charity cases.
Now, as I'm thinking back now, I know two black people that had their own business in New York. One still has his business, and the other one retired. So there are some entrepreneurs, some black entrepreneurs
Well,
in.
also, but until the rappers came out, they wasn't. It, Jay Z and Don King and those type people. But it is what it is. But what I'm just saying, as a 70-something year old man, uh, he his surroundings were not. He has not been surrounded with black affluent people. Everybody that black came to him, either they were an entertainer. So in his mind, he's saying the only way they can make it is entertainment. You see what I'm saying? So that gives a twisted mentality to his perception of black people, even with women. When you look at women, I think he had a woman that was his head person for his construction, and she had to keep his mind off of sex. Okay, this woman, it is, I can't even think of her name, but his way of looking at women was like, you know, uh, because his mindset is built around, and it's a lot of males are built around that mindset, and that's why you have what we have: white males and black males. They see Donald Trump, he got a young wife. I mean, he got to go nuts. They be like, man, you seen him? You seen him? You seen him? Oh man, I see more 75+ year old, I call them gray hair white guys and gray hair black guys. That you know, they just feel empowered when they see a guy like that. He's a man's man. That's how they look at it.
Yeah, but see, they making that woman as a token. See what I got? His
Yeah,
pride, something to show
right.
off,
Yeah,
something to
yeah.
build ego on. No, you,
Well,
I don't
that's
go
why.
for that kind of stuff. That's
Well, I
what
know.
men do.
Well, yeah. Well, men do it. I mean, most men, they're like, man, uh, it is, and that's what they call a misogynistic type mindset that's here in America. You know, men are seen, women are seen, because it's just what it is. Guys be like, okay, yeah, she on the team, but I think I can still get with her. you know, I mean, and so that mindset now it's being phased out. There will be a day when men will look at women, not sex. It's not hard for women to look at men as equal. You know what I'm saying? In business. But a guy be like, well, taking another dinner, I'm just thinking. Maybe it's really all or not about the blueprints. Maybe we can talk something else. So men have problems. And one of the things that's happening with women's rights and different things, even when they look at Miss Kamala Harris, some of the derogatory statements that have been directed towards her just because she's a woman. Even Hillary Clinton, men had a problem with Hillary Clinton because she was a strong woman. That's a strong white woman. So men have a problem a lot of times when women assert themselves,
Yeah,
and
strong women and women who have power, they have a problem with it. Not all men. Some men can accept that, but a lot of men,
yeah,
they can't deal with it. It seems to make them smaller or something, and
yeah,
they can't deal with the fact that a woman can be smarter than them, make more money than they can. They don't
yeah,
like that. And Trump is one of those men who had to dominate women, who had to he just belittle them all,
yeah.
because
Well,
I can name several women he has just belittled.
that
That's
the
no
lady
reason.
that did the interview with him and all that. But I'm gonna tell you something. Just going back to Barbara King, the Honorable Minister Barbara King. There were ministers during her time period that said, "Never let a woman come in my pulpit," and
Yeah,
she had to deal with that. And these were black ministers. So men in general have some issues in that area. And even when you look at this Supreme Court justice nominee, she's under what they call, I forgot what they call it, but it's uh uh it's kind of like originalist. These are people that adhere to the Constitution in its raw form. Okay, she believes, now they got a bunch of adopted kids and stuff like that. They got a girl over there that's from Haiti, look like she's been hypnotized. I think not, but what I'm saying, in her belief system, the man is dominant. Okay, she even though she'll be a Supreme Court justice, that means nothing in her household.
yeah. See, that ain't the way it is in my household. I give my husband the honor of being head of the household. Now, I'm not going to take that from him. I'm not going to disrespect for him, but I'm not going to let him dominate me.
Well, black women are different. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, a lot of sisters just not gonna have it, but when you think about it, if you look at us being the original people, okay, and the woman, this might throw some folks for a minute. The woman being the original person, okay.
Yeah.
See, when you look at that and you look at the order, it's almost natural for women, but stuff has been twisted over time, but it's almost natural for the woman, even in the animal kingdom, when you look at the lioness that dominates, it can fight just as hard as the lion. Okay?
Yeah.
You go into the jungle and try to take one of them baby lion cubs and see what happens. Mustafa ain't gonna get you. It's gonna be Sabri. Okay.
Yeah.
But
the women can fight hard now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They have power
But
that
but
they didn't even know they had.
Hmm. I mean, women, when it
Knowledge
comes
you
down to
don't know they
protecting their,
have.
their children, yes.
Yeah,
But you
because
know, when it comes down to protecting their children, a woman is more stronger at doing it than a man.
yeah,
You know, because uh, it is what it is. Because it's from a birth thing. She's been doing it. She got a 9 month advantage over a man at all times. We're a kid, any of them.
yeah, yeah. She do. She definitely start protecting that
But
child from day one of
oh
conception.
yeah,
When she know that
yeah,
the baby's there, she's protecting, trying to
you
do
got to watch what you eat,
good for
watch
her.
what you see. Yeah, you know that's why it's critical. I think matter of fact, Minister Farrakhan says that it's critical in when a woman has a baby that she practices so many different high level things because all of that affects the baby. The guy could be sitting around smoking a cigarette and sucking on a joint and drinking beer all day long after conception. He got nothing to worry about. But the
Mm,
woman, excuse me, no matter what, it's gonna affect the baby.
yeah, especially if she breastfeeding, all that stuff going right into the baby. She's protecting them.
Yeah, and, that's why if she smoked, when they had the big crack epidemic, when women were getting pregnant, and they were on crack, that's why you had those crack babies. Not because the guy was on crack. Now, when the guy was on crack, it's different because unless he was on crack prior to conception, but he could get on crack afterwards, and it's not going to affect the baby. There's many women that have raised kids that the father was on some type of drug. But not to get into that real hard, but I was thinking, with everything coming, did you see, two big things happened over the weekend? One was Vernon Jones getting passed around like a hot dog in Macon.
What
And the
got
other
passed
one,
around?
Vernon Jones, they passed him around like he was a hot dog. He jumped into the crowd and they levitated him. You know how they do at these concerts.
Yeah,
He went around the room.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you got to see that. I mean, Vernon Jones is 50 some years old. He jumped into the crowd and they did him like he was a teenager. He floated around the room.
Ah,
Oh, yeah, you got to see it. And the other thing was with Ice Cube. Now, I know a lot of people upset with Ice. Okay,
mm-hmm.
Ice Cube has a 12-step agenda for Black people, and he said that Black people shouldn't be, you know, self-checked. Where the Democrat Party be like, I know we already got them. We don't have to do nothing for them because we already got them. So Ice Cube is like, you ain't got me. These young people are like this. They like, you ain't got me. Killer Mike, T.I., all those guys are like, you don't have me. Just, but the typical person that's a Democrat, a lot of times Democrats say Black folks are self-check. We got, like the guy asked Joe Biden the other day, what do you mean by you Black, you got to vote for me? It's like we self-check. And Ice Cube said that I'm not going to be self-check. I'm going to have an agenda, and you got to value what I want. And that's what a lot of young people are saying. Well, anyway, he put it out to both sides. The Biden campaign said, we'll talk to you after the election. And you know what the Trump campaign said?
Well, we'll talk to you now.
Right now, because we need some Black people.
Yeah,
And he said, come on over. Now, I know he took a lot of backlash because, for some reason, Black folk don't think. I'm going to tell you this. If the president called me up, you don't think I'm going?
you are?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, but sometimes it's like, and I felt this way when Steve Harvey, Jim Brown, a couple others went. It's like, who are you to tell me I can't see the president of the United States?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Me, I have some kind of feelings towards that man.
You would go if Donald Trump asked you and Harvey to come to the White House, would you go? And he wanted to get your book. He said, "Miss Sylvia, I've been looking at your book, Power Thought." And
like
me
I
and
said,
what's the dude?
I
Would you
have,
go?
I have some feelings. I don't know. I have feelings because I don't like the way he treat women. For one, so
Okay.
and then as I am a woman, why would I stand in his face and grin when he talk about all the other women? Women stick together, believe it or not. You offend one woman, you offend me. Just like they did
Yeah.
that woman the other day, telling her to shut up and go back to picking cotton. I was pissed.
Oh yeah, yeah. Whoa.
I
One
was
thing
pissed. Didn't
I
even
know
know
you was
the
upset.
woman, never heard of her, but for them to say that
Yeah,
to her,
yeah. But to have dialogue with someone, and what I mean by that, there are certain taboos in the black community. We're never to talk to Clarence Thomas. You can't talk to Clarence Thomas. If you were seen talking to Clarence Thomas, you'd be exercised from the black community. Clarence
mm-hmm,
Thomas is a Supreme Court justice. Okay, whether you like him or not. And sometimes we dictate within our community who we should talk to. So Ice Cube is like, I'm not gonna be under that spell. Okay, and you got to ask who's pulling the string. Okay, because somebody's always whispering to black folk in their ear, "Hey, you can't do that. That doesn't look good." So a lot of young people are like, I'm not gonna follow that. I know, and I don't say it sarcastically, but if Donald Trump asked you, the president of the United States said, you know what, Ms. Sylvia Hayes, I was looking at your book, Power Thoughts, and me and the first lady really liked it. Now, however you felt like him, now just cause you talked to him, don't mean you need to be up there skinning and grinning.
okay.
That's an opportunity for you to have some type of dialogue where you can say, Mr. Trump, I really love. Have you read my book? If you read my book, you will see that I'm very conscious when it comes down to certain things about women. And if you're gonna be the person, I mean, you can say this to the president. If you're gonna be the person that's gonna endorse my book, I'd rather it be a person that had my views when it came down to women. And y'all would have a conversation about this. And you could say, you could put that out there. So a lot of people that talk to people, that don't mean that they Uncle Tom or what they call cooning, or buffoonery. Some people just have something they want to ask them. Well, why are you acting this way, dude? Maybe you go ask them and say, why are you acting like this? Why are you always on women? Maybe everybody else that came before you was not prepared to ask that particular question. So that's why I would go in there and say something. Now, after I finished, they said, well, remember, man, he spent 3 hours with the president. Might as well have been Kanye up there.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
if he want to call me in and talk about my book, and he gonna buy it, I might go for that. But to support him in his campaign, nope.
well, that's what I mean. Now, I know sometimes we are very polarized, black people, you know,
Yeah.
because when we pick something, we just don't see a reason for nobody to do anything outside of what we think. And that's the position Ice Cube was in. Ice Cube said, now we've come up with this agenda, and the Biden campaign said they'll see me after the election. Okay, now young people are like this. Okay, maybe it's wrong, but they're a lot more proactive. Even when you look at sport contracts, they're not loyal to a team. Back in the day, if you played for one team, you were so glad to be with that team. You stayed there till you stayed there until you retired or they got rid of you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Young people are like, I'm going to the highest bidder. I mean, you don't own me. Okay, I'm like LeBron saying, I'm gonna take my talent elsewhere. I'm gonna do something with it, and you don't own my talent now. But that puts us in a unique position with this future because no, other groups have behaved like that. You just can't come in to a group and be like a bowling ball. If you ever go bowling, you can take one ball and knock down all the pins. But that's how the black community has been. They bring somebody up on a Sunday morning and say, uh, this is drummer. He's running for public office. And the preacher would say, he's good. And the whole congregation would do what? Go out and vote for drummer. Well, you can't do that no more to black folks.
No, well, you can't do that in church anyway. Preacher can't tell you to vote for him or anything like that.
Well, that's what they used to do.
Yeah, well, they'll tell you they're up for office and they would like your support, but they can't tell you to just vote for them. Let them get up and say, this person is running for this office or something like that. But that's basically it. They can't.
But
no, they can't.
Politicians, the first place they would go would be the black church because they knew they could talk to a black person. You see a politician you ain't never seen or heard. And they run up in that black church and be like, hallelujah, praise God. I'm running for office. And they have nothing that they're doing for that group. And people like Ice Cube, Killer Mike, T.I., even though they rappers and entertainers, LeBron James, a lot of people, they say, you stay in the lane, just start playing basketball. We don't hear nothing from you. But these young people are saying, hey, I have a voice and you don't own me. Okay? That means that you're going to have to do something. I got to, something that I want, something of value. I'm not self-checked. Okay? And I think black folk now, and that was one of the moves that Ice Cube made when he went over to the White House and met with 46 minus 1 House of Liberty president.
Yeah. Now, when I heard him talk the other night, I could understand where he was coming from. Like it's not like he was supporting Trump or anything like that, but Trump is the person in power that he's the one that would talk to him. So he has something he needs to get out. I can understand that. So I wouldn't just point a finger at it and say you're a sellout. I wouldn't do that.
I remember
why he was there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I remember I was working a job, and I remember one of the supervisors wasn't even on the company. The supervisor called me into the office, and the people that I worked with, they were so suspicious because they had never seen. I came from a military background, so a military background, it would not be unnormal for you to be communicating with someone that was higher up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when I get into the civilian job market, people are like, man, you talking to the boss? I mean, it was like I was in slavery. Man, the boss got something to ask you other than you fired. The only time they ever talked to the boss was when they got hired and when they got fired. Okay? Yeah. Now, so when I went into the office one time and the boss, he called me, hey, I need to talk to you like that. Man, the folks, I felt like they were like stepping fetches. They was like, man, what am I in the office for? I wonder what they're going to do to her. I mean, these people, but this is the mentality a lot of times. And then they might want, this guy asked me something. It was something that did not have anything to do with work. Because I was selling something. I think I was selling Amway. And he was one of my prospects. And people at the job could not see a reason for this white man to call me into the office other than for a disciplinary action. And this is what happens with when somebody visits. Now, I'm not saying Kanye was a different category, but Ice Cube, I've seen the 12 things that he had for black people, and you know, I don't think everybody's a sellout. We have a tendency to say if you meet with somebody, right now, if you had opportunity, you say you're a peacemaker. If someone from the Klan wanted to talk to you in daylight and you were protected by, security, I talk to them.
Would you?
With,
Yeah,
yeah,
I would.
yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna talk to them at night, but I talk to them during the day just to see what I said. Well, why you have problems? Because people have done it. Charles Barkley did it. Charles Barkley had an interview with I think all right guy, and it was a great interview. He asked him, well, the guy told him what their principles were, uh, why they believe what they believe, and they were able to leave and not kill each other. See, a lot of times the conversation
but he was
is
holding his
necessary.
peace though.
What's that?
He was holding his peace. I was holding mine too.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes a strong person. Well, a weak person couldn't go in there and hold that conversation without throwing a fist or two.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times when you have to negotiate with people, you have to go into, even on a job. I remember I was a union rep, and somebody's got to be, the boss is not the enemy, okay? But they, some people, like, the only time they ever talk to a supervisor or the boss was to get hired or to be fired. And so that mentality transcends into government. So a lot of people, they don't see a reason for you to talk to them. Like the police. If the police ask you something, I got police officers that ask me to score the game, just talking. A lot of people have never talked to the police, but for one reason: you're under arrest.
Yeah.
You have the right to remain silent. So anytime, and this happens in our urban community, anytime they say, man, he must be snitching. Because it's a mindset that says the only reason you talking to somebody in power is cause you are either cooning, snitching, or selling out.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to do that. Because a lot of people in power, they have feelings too. I mean, everybody wants friends, and just the way I look at it, they're human just like I am. You just have this your job. So just because you have this job doesn't mean I have to put you on a higher pedestal or I have to fear you, because I don't fear my supervisors and stuff like that. I talk to them like I would talk to anybody else. If I wanted something, I wouldn't be afraid to ask. I've done it. Hey, I want to have a party. They say, okay. And they give me the money to have a party for the company.
You know what? I always remember that this is crazy. I worked at a place, Lockheed. And Lockheed was, it was a peculiar type place. I worked in Lockheed, and believe it or not, this was in 80, I had to be there 86. Well, matter of fact, I was, well, anyway, they were laying people off at Lockheed. And, I mean, and when I was like 26 years old, I was just like I was 15. So I had a layoff jam, and I was selling tickets. And there was a big guy, they called him Red. Red was a redneck out of Tennessee. And I don't think nobody black had ever been in his office. Okay. Now, me and two other brothers went in his office, and I remember when I went in his office, I could feel the hatred in Red.
Really?
Because I said, Mr. Red, how you doing? I'm running for a union shop steward or something, and I would like to have your support. He did everything but cuss me out. He looked at me as hard as you can look at somebody without spitting on him. He looked at me like I was filth. I said, Mr. Red, I would love to have your support. My name is Reginald Drummer. I'm running for shop steward. And he basically told me to get the blank out the office. And then I said, by the way, Mr. Red, I'm selling tickets for the layoff jam. He said, what? The layoff jam. I said, Lockheed's getting ready to lay off a bunch of folks, and I'm selling tickets. When I got through with Red, you know what?
What?
He bought 10 tickets.
Okay.
Now, I'm gonna tell you what happened. The people, and they remember this. It was like Lockheed. It was like, because he, it was a lot of noise in that room. Red was. I mean, I don't think Red had never had 3 black folk in his room at one time, let alone, probably not one, because it was an unwritten rule with not to go in his office for some reason. Okay, now that's why I say when you're young, you push buttons that normally are not pushed, and that's what young people are doing now. They're like, why should we wait for you to determine who I should vote? When they were Bernie burners, with Killer Mike and all those folks, Bernie Sanders is a rebel anyway. I mean, out of all the politicians that ever ran, Bernie he's just like he was when he was 17, a hell raiser.
Okay.
Bernie Sanders has always been what he is. He always against the establishment. And I mean, he has not stopped. Now everybody else, so his whole mindset is like that, fully charged, energetic, because Bernie is more energetic than Joe Biden. Joe is like, because that's why Trump said it, they got him on steroids, got him pumped up. I want to get him for a drug test. Donald Trump said, like he was going boxing. He said, we need to check him for drugs. Because and if you ever, this is why it's good to see what they're doing on other sides of the scope. Over there, I think Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, they was like, they got him on this drug called something. Biden was taking this something to keep him up, and he was hyped. He was like, he said he'll be good for 30 minutes. It's like Viagra or something. And Trump was like, now Trump was, well, it's like to keep your mental thing sharp, because, whether you like Trump or not, for a guy that's 74, 75 years old, he's still pretty sharp, okay? Every now and then, Trump comes with some stuff, he'd be like, Sleepy Joe. He say, oh, man.
That's his way of just trying to put people down, everybody below him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Joe is just a mellow person.
Yeah. And, he's touchy-feely. Now, they hadn't even got Joe for the touchy-feely yet, because Joe likes to touch it. If you ever go on the Republican side and see these little campaigns, they got Joe just touching everybody. Joe, because Jesse be like, rubbing people's shoulders. And here's Joe talking to a 15-year-old. But Joe is a very emotional type, caring type person. Okay. With Trump, I don't even think his mother ever hugged him.
Probably not. Trump is so uncaring. I've never ran across anybody who cared more about himself than the whole world.
That's America.
I care for myself, but then I care for other people too. Like Trump, he don't care about other people. All he's caring about is himself, and he go out and spread the disease to everybody. As you, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but every campaign, every rally he went to, he spread the disease, the virus. They have thousands more virus cases after he left there than it was beforehand. If it was low, 2 weeks later, it's 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000 or 5,000 more cases because of him and his rally. He did that in everywhere he went so far. He's spreading the virus. I mean, he's like a super spreader. That's what it is. A super spreader. He's spreading that virus. Trump He don't care about anybody but himself, and that's one of the reasons he need to be out of there, because that's all he do is care about himself. He ain't caring about nobody else. Just spreading the disease, the virus, and the women. He feel threatened by the women, just like that commentator the other day. He felt threatened. He didn't like her. That woman was too powerful. He don't like a powerful woman at all. So that's messing with him. Trump do not like a powerful woman. So that's why he tried to dominate him. Because I remember the pageants. We're talking about men and dominator. When he was over when he had these pageants, he would go in these girls' dressing room without even knocking. He didn't care. I mean, that was his thrill, because he had the power to go into these dressing rooms of these beauty queens or whatever, for these pageants, beauty pageant people. He just go in there because he had the power, because that's him, his power over women. And I don't like that. I don't like him having power over women or feel like he's better than women and he have the right to crush them and all of that. I don't like that at all. And that's why he crushes Kamala Harris. That's why he did the same thing with the commentator the other night. That's why he did it with Rosa O'Donnell. That's why he did it with the other lady. What's her name? That's why he did it with Clinton. He just bashed her because he feel like he's superior to all of these women. So he can do that.
He hates Rosie O'Donnell. He wants to fight Rosie O'Donnell. I think it'll be a good one. He wants to fight her.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he did. That's not cool though. That's not cool. He should. Women have their places, and he shouldn't try to dominate them and stifle them. That's back in the old days. Women supposed to be bare feet pregnant, stay in your place. No, that's not the way it is. And with the church, women should not be preaching. There are a lot of men out there who say women should be preachers, they shouldn't be in the pulpit and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? If it wasn't for these women going to church, the church would probably be empty because the men ain't have going there.
Nope.
If women going there and taking their children so they can have some kind of faith background. If it wasn't for the women in the church and doing what they're doing, the church would fall apart. And a lot of times they dragging the men. The men don't want to go. They want to stay there and watch a football game or sleep or whatever. And women are dragging the men on. And they talking about women shouldn't be in the pulpit. If it wasn't for the women, ain't no telling what be going on right now. So they have the power. They have the power.
Well, I was thinking when you said Donald Trump, and you know what? When Vernon Jones was being passed around the audience, nobody in that audience had a mask. This is Macon, Georgia. Vernon Jones didn't have a mask. Nobody had hand sanitizer. There was no social distance. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I hope that Vernon Jones is taking care of himself. Because you know what happened to Herman Cain?
Yeah, he died. What? 5 weeks afterwards or something?
Mm-hmm.
So
like Trump now, Trump is, you got to give it to him. When he couldn't wait. Now they say unquote, he might had it and he might have not. It might have been a publicity stunt, because this is what they call October surprise. Okay, October surprise. We had a couple things happen. He nominated the Supreme Court justice, that lady, and then he came down with COVID-19. Now Donald Trump said, "Guess what? I mean, you got to see all this. Why it's important that you look at stuff all around." He said, "I hope Joe don't catch it, because if he does, I don't think he'll be strong enough to fight it." I mean, I don't think he'll be strong enough to fight it.
Oh,
he
really?
said this, because he's constantly talking about the Trump superior gene, and Trump does this with anybody, white people, black folks, anybody. Trump says, I don't think he'll be able to fight it. He said that my doctor said that my victory over COVID-19 was better than anybody they ever said. Because no matter what, Trump has to be better than anybody else. You know, nobody ever did what I did. And you know what he did? He did a drive-by. He said, "I'm coming out of the hospital, and I'm gonna do a drive-by. I'm gonna do a parade." And it's an ego kicked in. He said, "That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a drive-by around Walter Reed Hospital, and then I'm going back to the White House." He's still supposed to be under quarantine.
Yeah. And my thing is, either he had it before he got sick, or I don't know, or he still got it after he got out.
You don't give a blank. Well,
yeah,
now,
even his son done had is what they say. Yeah, so if you spread that like that, you should be at home.
Yeah, not to just go, but let me tell you something. If you take out conspiracy, they took him off the air. Alex Jones. They say he's been cloned. Donald Trump's been cloned. They said Hillary Clinton was cloned. She had they showed two different Hillarys after they said she was cloned. And they said Joe Biden, they cloned him. Because, old Joe couldn't make it. Okay?
Now, who's doing this cloning, Reggie?
This, if Google it. Google clone Hillary, clone Joe Biden, and clone Donald Trump. There's a group of people that believe that all these, just like, what's that guy over in Korea, Kim Jong-un?
Kim Jong-un.
Whatever his name, he's been cloned. Now, so they got duplicate people that show up, because, Trump has been in all kind of atmospheres, and he was right next to Herman Cain and them doing, and he, in their campaign, they have had people to die. Now, Herman Cain is probably one of the most notable people, that we know. But out in Oklahoma, the folks out in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, all them little states where them folks are here, COVID-19 not gonna come out here and we ain't wearing no mask. Not us. And look what happened. Now, he ribbed those folk out up. And Trump, like I say, he's a good promoter. That what's that lady? They just said they was gonna kidnap a governor. And he just, they had about a week ago, they was gonna kidnap the governor of Minnesota.
Yeah, Detroit, wasn't it? Michigan?
Yeah, they was going
somewhere up there.
Yeah. Well, Trump just told her he gonna put her on arrest. He gonna lock her up.
And see, that's another woman,
Yep.
He feels inferior to. Woman can't speak her piece.
Oh, no.
That's Trump problem. So all these people who are with Trump, they are against the women, and all these women who have children, I wouldn't have who have girls. I wouldn't be letting my daughters be around Trump, because he's a molester, a rapist. The same thing he be telling them about other folks.
Well, you know what? What's the guy, Billy Graham's son? Franklin Graham. Now, Franklin Graham talked horrible, very horrible about Bill Clinton. He said, "This is a menace. This is a tragedy." When him and Monica Lewinsky had their little thing going in the White House, but the evangelical people have flipped script. That's why a lot of ministers are having a lot of problems, because people are like, why y'all not saying that? Now, Franklin Graham just said, hey, everybody makes mistakes. With all the porno girls that Donald Trump, President 46 minus one, has been associated with, cheating on his wife, everything you could possibly think about, Guess what Franklin Graham said?
What?
God forgive me. Social media.
Yeah. Well,
So
thing is,
that makes religion look bad. I mean, you guys think about a lot of these, evangelical type people. Now they said, because we so strong on abortion.
he's saying that because he might have been involved too, might be guilty of that at one time or another. You never can
Yeah,
tell.
yeah,
Pot can't always call the kettle black.
yeah.
Not
But
all
but
the
but
time.
all all these evangelical people that say, we know he got some bad sides. He's a bad element. But the reason we support, when you talk to people that support the president, is three things they support him on. One is the economy. Two is, for some reason, people think they're going to take all the guns. And the third reason is for abortion. Now, you would think that America never aborted babies. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure many of our ancestors, when they were throwing them slave babies out to the alligators or hanging
Yeah.
women, killing the baby right in front of the first, whatever the church was. I'm pretty sure those women would have been glad to say, hold it, slave master. What about abortion? I'm
Yeah.
in my,
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like you said, the alligator, they used to take the black babies and use them for gator bait. So
yeah,
it's okay
they
to
didn't care.
kill a human after birth, but it's not okay to kill him before birth. You can take a man, they go out there shooting black people and killing them all the time, putting knees on their neck and kill them. That's okay, but don't kill this baby beforehand. Now this woman gonna have a baby, she pregnant, she risking her life because it's making her have high blood pressure, might cause her to have a stroke and all that kind of stuff. It's okay as long as she don't kill that baby. But yet still, that she give birth to that baby, and you gonna go out there and shoot it.
But,
No,
but,
no, it's okay to
but
kill the people after they're born, but don't kill them beforehand. And all these men who
now,
getting it, it's these men who doing that. It's these men who saying you don't have an abortion, a lot of them. And yet and still, they're the ones who put these babies there and want them to go
listen
through
a
all
minute.
this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to get you upset, Mississippi. But you know what? I saw a Western. There was
Strong
a
passion
Western
against
movie.
that. You're gonna kill people
I think,
after they were born, but don't kill them beforehand.
yeah. Oh,
No.
but I have to share this. I got to share this. America, America. During the cowboy Indian days, I
Yeah.
remember seeing movies where none of the women survived childbirth.
Mm.
It was a norm for women to die during childbirth. You look at all those. What's the guy? Rifleman.
Yeah.
Because you say Rifleman didn't have a son on his own, but he never had a wife. But she died during childbirth. You look at what's that? Bonanza, Ben Cartwright, all them horse, Joe and Little Joe, and all them. The mama died after childbirth. See, it wasn't difficult, and this is Hollywood, I know, but
Yeah.
in the Western time, a man would take one woman and hope that she survived the journey in order to produce him a a a a,
A
a,
son.
a son. And guess what they did? If she produced a daughter, that's when you got incest. Because he said, I'm still gonna have a son, even if
Yeah.
it's with my daughter. And this it's a whole lot of twisted stuff. When you look at America, I mean, I gotta take a deep breath. I know we just came over with what Indigenous People Day, Columbus. You know how long it was before, especially over here in America, and people still get upset. You say America did not. I mean, Columbus didn't discover America. Oh,
Yeah,
people get really upset. You can't change history. Okay, this man was lost. His GPS wasn't working.
yeah,
He went
yeah,
to the wrong spot. He did not pass go. He shouldn't get $200 in the celebration. But these are things that I think right now we're seeing because what side of history are we gonna be on? Are we gonna be on the right side of history? Okay. With all the stuff that's going on, when I see my Trump uncles and all these type people, and I like Trump, I like the economy, but when you look at the division, the chaos, the disorder, because I asked the brother today, and it's still a lot of black and brown people, poor
yeah, yeah. But we're running out of
people.
time, Reggie. We're running out of time. But what we want the people to do is vote for people who's going to be on your side, who believe what you believe in. Okay? That is so important. And look, me, woman power. That's what I look
Okay,
at.
baby.
Woman power.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and also we're getting ready to go. But before we leave, I have to tell you about my new book, Power Thoughts, empowering you to be successful in life. So get the book. It is so empowering. Okay. You can get it at lulu.com. So go to lulu.com, put in Power Thoughts by Sylvia Hayes, my new book. And you'll find it very enlightening. Everybody needs this book. Okay. Yeah. Everybody needs this book. It would help you to think for yourself. Okay. So that is a very powerful book. And we getting ready to go. Closing words, Reggie, before we clear the air.
Thinking is not illegal yet. When they ban thinking, we're all doomed. Thinking's not illegal yet.
No, it is not. So be sure you think and remember to go out and vote. Voting is going on right now. If there's a long line, take a chair, some water in your lunch bag. Okay? Because you might be out there for a long time. But don't give
Bring
up.
a good book.
Yeah, bring a good
Tell them
book.
bring a good book.
If you got
Power
those,
thought.
you can be reading while you're sitting out there waiting to go and vote. Okay? So don't forget to vote. Early voting has started already. We got until the 30th of this month to vote. And a lot of places you do the early voting on Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, so don't forget to go vote. And with that note, I'm going to say see you till next time. Have a good evening.